Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we'll be treating top NECO mathematics past questions. Our first question says, what is the total surface area of a cuboid whose dimensions are 12 cm, 8 cm, and 3 cm? Now, for us to find the total surface area of a cuboid, we'll be using the formula 2 bracket length times height plus length times breadth plus breadth times height. All right, so we have this as our length, breadth, and height. Now, applying this in this formula, we are going to have it as 2 bracket length 12 times 8 plus length 12 times 3 plus 8 times 3. Now, 12 times 3, 12 times 8 would give us 96 plus 36 plus 24. So we're having 96 plus 36 plus 24 would give us 156. So 2 times 156 would give us a 312 centimeter square, since we are working with area. So our answer will be option A. If sine 30 is 0.5, sine 30 equals 0.5, what is the cosine of its complement? Now, when we talk about complementary angles, we talk about sum of two angles that sum up to 90 degrees. So for the complement of 30, we are having it as 90 minus 30, which will give us 60. So for this, we're having it as sine 30 equals cos 60, which will give us 0.5. So our cosine, the complement of sine 30, which is 0.5, will give us cos 60, which is 0.5. So our answer will be option C. Two parallel chords of a circle are respectively 46 cm and 40 cm long. If the radius of the circle is 25 cm and the center of the circle lies between the two chords, what is the distance between the two chords? Now, representing this in a diagram, if we have a circle, all right, this is our center of circle. Now, they said two chords are parallel, okay? So we have the first chord here, and we have the second chord here. Now, if the first chord is 46 cm, let's call this 46 cm, and this is 40 cm. Now, they said our radius of our circle is 25 cm. So the radius of this circle is 25 cm. All right, and we have yet another radius to this point, 25 centimeter. So they're asking for the distance between the two chords. Now, for this, since any line from the center of our circle to our chord bisects our chord into two equal parts, which means the line is perpendicular to the chord, so we can have a right angle triangle in this form, as 25 being the radius and 46 divided by 2 will give us 23, being adjacent or opposite, whichever we choose. Now, for the other aspect, for the upper side, we have it as a right angle triangle also, 25 being our LCM, our hypotenuse, and 40 divided by 2 being opposite or adjacent. Now, from here, we are going to apply Pythagoras theorem to both of them. Now, for this, we are having it as 25 squared. Let's call this x and y. So this is x, this is a y. So now, from here, 25 squared equals 23 squared plus x squared. Okay, applying our Pythagoras theorem that says that hypotenuse squared equals sum of opposite squared plus adjacent squared. All right, so this gives us 625 equals 23 squared would give us 529 plus x squared. So x squared will give us 625 minus 529, which will leave us with x squared equals 625 minus 529 will give us 96. So our x equals root of 96, which will give us root 96 leaves us with approximately 9.8 centimeters. Now, for this other one, applying still our Pythagoras rule, we're having it as 25 squared equals 20 squared plus y squared. So this gives us 625 equals 400 plus y squared. So our y squared equals 625 minus 400. So y squared equals 225. And y equals root of 225, which will give us 15. So our root 225 gives us 15. So now for the distance between the two chords, distance between chords will be x plus y. And the value of x is 9.8 plus 15, which will give us 24.8 centimeters. So that's our distance for value of the distance between our two chords, and our answer isn't there. So the closest answer we can choose would be D, which is 26 centimeters. The angle of elevation of the top T of a palm tree from a point R on the ground is 30 degrees. The distance from R to the base of the palm tree B is 120 meters. What is the distance between T and R? Now, interpreting this, we have a palm tree here. So this is our point T, top of the palm tree. And from the top of the palm tree, the angle of elevation to point R, this is point R on the ground, is 30 degrees. And the distance from R to the base B of the palm tree is 120 meters. Now it says, what is the distance between T and R? So we are looking for X. All right, in order to find X, we already know that this has formed in a right angle triangle, and this acts as our hypotenuse, our adjacent, and opposite. So for this, we are going to apply our SOHCAHTOA. Okay, since we are looking for x, which is our hypotenuse, and we have adjacent, all right, we are going to use our cos. Cos theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, from here, our adjacent, our theta is 30 degrees. So this gives us cos 30 equals adjacent is 120 all over hypotenuse, which is x. Now, cross multiplying would give us x cos 30 equals 120. All right, so our x will be 120 divided by cos 30. Now, what is cos 30? Cos 30, we have it as cos 30, we have it as 120 divided by root 3 over 2. Okay, now having this as root 3 over 2, let's do the inverse of it. X equals 120 times 2 over root 3. All right, this gives us x equals 240 over root 3. Now, if we apply our SOHCAHTOA rule by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by our root 3, would have x equals 240 over root 3 times root 3 over root 3. So root 3 times root 3 would cancel out to give us 240 root 3 over 3. So 3 here 1, 3 into 224, 240, 80. So our x equals 80 root 3. So the value of our x would be 80 root 3 meters, which is option C. The probability that a student will pass a mathematics test is 3 over 5. So that means the probability of pass is 3 over 5, and probability of fail would be 1 minus 3 over 5, which will give us 2 over 5. Now, the next line says if 3 students are chosen at random, what is the probability that at least 2 of them would pass the test? Now, when we talk about at least, it simply means that the least number of people to pass the test among the 3 students would be 2. So that means it's either the 2 of them 2 pass and 1 fails, or the 3 of them passes the test. So now, the probability that at least 2 would pass the test would be n factorial k factorial, all right, times probability of pass and times probability of fail, n minus k, where our n is number of students and k is number of students who pass. All right, now applying this rule, we are having our number of students to be 3, and our number of students who passes the exam at least will be 2. So for this, we are going to have it as 3 factorial, 2 factorial, okay, times k, number of those that, probability of those that pass will be 3 over 5, k is 2, minus, okay, times number of those that failed, 2 over 5, 3 minus 2 is 1. All right, now expanding this, we are going this for two people passing, at least 2 passing. All right, so expanding this, we are having it as 3 factorial over 2 factorial will give us 3, times 3 squared is 9 over 25, times 2 over 5. All right, so here we are having it as 3 times 9 times 2, which is 54, all over 25 times 5, we're having it as 125. Okay, so the next part is probability that 3 of them will pass. So probability that 3 will pass will be 3 factorial over 3 factorial. Then this will be 3 over 5 times raised to power 3 times 3 minus, our 3 minus 3 will give us 0. So this will be ruled out, equals, so this will be 1 times 3 raised to power 3 will give us 27. 9 times 3, 27 over 125. So this gives us 27 over 125. Now, so back to the probability that at least 2 passes this test will become probability of at least 2 would be probability of 2 passing plus probability of 3 passing. So that gives us 54 over 125 plus 27 over 125. So this leaves us with, our LCM will be 125. 54 plus 27 would give us 81. 54 plus 27 gives us 81. So our answer would be 81 over 125, which is option E. The total surface area of a cylinder with radius 2 cm and height 1.5 cm. Correct to 2 significant figures. Now, if we have our TSA, total surface area for cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now, we can factorize this. We have 2 pi, r, and r. So we can bring this to be 2 pi r bracket r plus h. Simplifying this. All right. Now, we know that our 2, here we are given that our radius r equals 2 and our height h equals 1.5. Now, substituting these values into our formula, we have it as 2 times pi is constant 22/7 times our radius 2 bracket open radius 2 plus 1.5. Okay, so this gives us 2 times 22. 2 times 22 is 44. 44 times 2 will give us 88/7 times 3.5. Okay, now having this, we have 7 divided by 3.5 would give us 2. So 3.5 here 1, 3.5 here 2, leaving us with 88/2. This broken down will give us 44 centimeter squared as our total surface area of the cylinder. So our answer will be 44 centimeters squared, which is option D. A wire was shaped to form a square of area 81 centimeters squared. An equilateral triangle was formed by the same wire. What is the length of the side of the triangle formed? Now, we know that area of square equals length times length, which from our question is 81 squared, 81 cm squared. All right. Now, that means for our length will be root of 81, which is 9 centimeters. All right. Now, knowing that the length of our square is 9 centimeters, we can now find the perimeter of the square. Now, perimeter of the square, why are we looking for the perimeter of the square? The perimeter of the square would help us to understand the total length of the wire. Now, perimeter of square is given as 4L, okay, which becomes 4 times 9, which will give us 36 centimeters. So the perimeter of our square is 36 centimeters. That is to say, our length of wire is 36 centimeters. Now, this wire was now formed into an equilateral triangle. Now, an equilateral triangle is a triangle with all sides being equal. Now, since all sides of our equilateral triangle are equal, and we know that a triangle has 3 sides, so this, and this are all equal. So having a wire of 36 centimeters to form an equilateral triangle, for us to get the length, we are having it as 36 cm divided by the number of sides of our triangle, 3, which will give us 12 centimeters. That means for each of this triangle sides is 12 cm. So the length of the side of our triangle formed will be 12 cm, which is option D. A quadratic equation with roots minus 1/2, minus 1/2, and 1/4 is, now, these are the roots of the equation. We are asked to find the equation that gave rise to these roots. So in order to do that, we'll first of all equate this to x. So our x equals minus 1/2 and x equals 1/4. Now we'll convert this to make improper fractions. That becomes x equals minus 3/2 and x equals 1/4. Now from here, we'll multiply 2 to both sides to eliminate this fraction. This becomes 2x equals minus 3, and multiply 4 to both sides. This becomes 4x equals 1. Now, in order to equate these fractions to 0, we have to move our 3 and 1 over to the other side. And in doing that, we would add 3 to both sides. This becomes 2x plus 3 equals 0, and 4x minus 1 equals 0. Now, at those points, we'll bring these two factors together. This will be 2x plus 3 times 4x minus 1 equals 0. Now, expanding this, we are having 2x times 4x will give us 8x squared. 2 times 2x times minus 1 will give us minus 2x. 3 times 4x will give us plus 12x. And 3 times 1 minus 1 will give us minus 3 equals 0. Now, at this, we would collect like terms, which will give us 8x squared plus 10x minus 3 equals 0. So the equation that gave rise to this root will be 8x squared plus 10x minus 3, which is option D. 3 sets of fries, X, Y, and Z, are sold for 15 naira, 35 naira, and 60 naira respectively per kg. If they are mixed in the ratio of 1, 3, and 2, what is the cost per kg of the mixture? Now, in order to get this, our rice X, it was sold for 15 naira, and rice Y was sold for 35 naira, and rice Z was sold for 60 naira per kg. Now, their ratio, in a ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 2. Now, our total ratio will be 6. Now, if they are mixed, okay, for X will give us 15 times 1. For Y will give us 35 times 3, which is 5, 15, and 105. And for Z would give us 60 times 2, which is 120. So in this ratio, the total mix here will be 5 plus 5, 10, rather than 0, carry 1. This is 4, 240, okay? 240. Now, for us to find the cost per kg will become 240 divided by 6. Now, 240 divided by 6 will give us 40 naira. So, the cost of the mixture per kg will be 40 naira, which is option C. When a shirt is sold for 12,000 naira, a loss of 20% is recorded. How much should it be sold for to gain 20%? Now, it was sold, so our selling price is 12,000, and we have a loss percent of 20%. Now, we know that loss is cost price minus selling price. All right, so our loss percent will become cost price minus selling price all over cost price times 100 over 1. Okay, now we've been given our loss percent as 20. Okay, the cost price we do not know, minus selling price, which is 12,000, all over cost price times 100 over 1. All right, cross multiplying, this gives us 20 cost price equals 100 cost price minus 12,000 times 100. That gives us 1.2. Okay, now having this, we are going to collect our like terms together. This becomes 100 cost price minus 20 cost price equals 1.2. All right, so this gives us 80 cost price equals 1.2. So our cost price will become 1.2 divided by 80. All right, so our cost price would be 12 divided by 80 would give us 15,000. So our cost price that gave us a loss of 20% is 15,000. Now, the next aspect of it says, how much should it be sold for to make 20% gain? Now, we know that our gain is selling price minus cost price. So our gain percentage gain is selling price minus cost price divided by cost price times 100 over 1. Now our gain percent is 20. Okay, selling price is what we are looking for. Our cost price at this moment is 15,000 all over 15,000 times 100 over 1. Okay, so this becomes 15,000 times 20 equals 100 SP times minus 1.5. All right, 15 times 100 will give us 1.5. Now this will give us 300,000 equals 100 SP minus 1.5. Now, bringing our terms together, this will become 100 SP, 100 of our selling price equals 1.5 plus 300,000. Okay, so our 1.5 plus 300 would give us 100 SP equals 1.8. All right, so SP would give us, our selling price would be 1.8 divided by 100. So our selling price would be 18,000. So the selling price to make 20% gain would be 18,000, which would be option C. The ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a cycle is approximately equal to, now we know that circumference of a circle is given as 2 pi r, all right, and our diameter is given as 2r. Okay, our diameter is given as 2r and our circumference is given as 2 pi r. Now, if we talk about the ratio, that means circumference over diameter. And this will give us 2 pi r over 2r. 2 will cancel 2, r will cancel r. So the ratio of the circumference to diameter will be is equal to pi, which is 3.14, which is option B. Twice a number x is added to 5. The result is at least 11. What is the range of the values of x? Now, it says twice, that means 2x, twice a number x, that is 2x, is added to 5 plus 5, right? The result is at least, that means the least of its results should be 11. That means it's either greater than 11 or equals to 11. All right, what is the range of x? So we have to solve out this inequality, and in doing that, we are having it as 2x greater than or equals to 11 minus 5. So this gives us 2x greater than or equals to 6. So x dividing both sides by 2 is greater than or equals to 6 over 2, which will give us 3. So x is greater than or equals to 3, which is our option B. The mean height of 3 groups of students consisting of 20, 16, and 14 students are 1.67 meters, 1.5 meters, and 1.4 meters, respectively. What is the mean height of all the students? Now, in order to calculate the mean height of all the students, now let's look at each group accordingly. We know that our mean equals EFX over EF or EF over N. All right. Now, in this case, let's look at group 1 of 20 students. 20 students. All right. Now, they say the mean is 1.6. Now, our mean is 1.67, which equals EF over N, which is 20. So our EFX or EF, all right, our total frequency will become 1.67 times 20, which gives us 1.67 times 20 gives us 33.4. All right. Now, that is for group 1. Group 2 of 16 students. Our mean is 1.5. So this gives us 1.5 equals EF over 16. So our EF would be 1.5 times 16, which gives us 1.5 times 16 gives us 24. All right. Now for group 3, where we have 14 students, our mean is 1.4. Okay, 1.4 equals EF over 14. So this would be EF equals 14, 1.4 times 14, which gives us 1.4 times 14, which gives us 19.6. Now, since we are asked to find the mean height of the total students, we are going to add all our EFX, EF of 1 plus EF of 2 plus EF of group 3. So we have it group 1, group 2, group 3, all over the number of students, total number of students, which is 20 plus 16 plus 14. All right. Now, our EF1 is 33.4 plus 24 plus 19.6 all over 20 plus 16 plus 14, which gives us 33.4 plus 24 plus 19.6 gives us 77 all over. Adding this up, 16 plus 14 is 30 plus 20 will give us 50. So our mean equals 77 divided by 50, which gives us 1.54. So the mean of the entire students will be 1.54 meters, which is option C. The mean and the range of the set of numbers 1.2, 1, 1.0, 0.9, 1.4, 0.8, 0.8, 1.2, and 1.1 are P and Q respectively. Thus, our mean is P, represented by P, and our range is represented by Q. Now, this says we should find the value of P divided by Q. That means the mean divided by our range. Now, for us to find mean is our EF over N. All right. So in this case, our mean will be 1.2 plus 1, 1.0 plus 0.9 plus 1.4 plus 0.8 plus 0.8 plus 1.2 plus 1.1, all divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all divided by 8. Now, our mean will become 1.2 plus 1.0 plus 0.9 plus 1.4 plus 0.8 plus 0.8 plus 1.2 plus 1.1, which gives us 8.4. 8.4 divided by 8. So divided by 8 would give us 1.05. So that's our mean. Our mean is 1.05. Then when we talk about range, range is the highest value in any given set of data minus the smallest value in same given set of data. Now, our highest value here is 1.4. 1.4 minus our smallest value, which is 0.8. So our range would be 1.4 minus 0.8. 1.4 minus 0.8, which gives us 0.6. Okay? And we are asked to find our mean P divided by Q, which is 1.05 divided by 0.6. Alright? So 1.05 divided by 0.6 would give us 1.75. So the value, our answer will be 1.75, which isn't here. So the closest answer will be 1.85. Alright? A girl on top of a story building, 36 meters high, drops a 10 naira note on the ground below. If the angle of depression of the 10 naira note is 35 degrees, alright, angle of depression is 35 degrees, how far is the note from the girl? So we are looking at this, the angle of elevation. It's important to always remember that the angle of elevation equals angle of depression. So if we're having an angle of depression as 35 degrees, alright, we can say that our angle of elevation is also 35 degrees. So now we are asked to find how far the money is from the girl. So our money is here and the girl is up here. So how far is the money from the girl? So we are looking for our x. Now, bearing in mind that this is our opposite. Our opposite is 36, and we have our hypotenuse, which we are looking for. Alright, so using our SOHCAHTOA rule, we are going to use sine, which deals with opposite and hypotenuse. So this becomes opposite sine 35 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Alright, so sine 35 gives us opposite is 36 over x. So x equals 36 over sine 35. So our 36 over sine 35 gives us sine 35 gives us 0.5736. So 36 divided by sine 35 would give us 62.76 meters. So our answer will be 62.76 meters, which is option E. After what length of time will 2,400 naira yield an interest of 60 naira at 1/2% per annum? Alright, that shouldn't be 112%, please. This should be 1/2 or 1.5% per annum. Now, this we have our principal as 2.4, and we have our interest as 60. Alright, now we have our rate as 1/2. Alright, now we are asked to find our time. Now we know that interest equals principal times rate times time all over 100. So therefore, time equals 100 times interest all over principal times rate. Okay, now substituting into our formula, we are having it as 100 times 60, which is our interest, all over principal, which is 2.4, times 3/2, which is our rate. Rate is 3/2%. Converting this to improper fraction. Now, from here, we would have it as 100 times 60 will give us 6,000 over 24 times 2 times 2 over 3. Okay, so this will cancel this. 3 here 1, 3 here 20, 2 here 1, 2 here 12. Now we are having 20 over 12. We can still cancel with 2, or let's go with 4. 4 into 20, 5. 4 into 12 will give us 3. So this gives us one whole number 2 over 3. So this will be one whole number 2 over 3 years as our answer, which is one whole number 2 over 3, which is option B. An amount of money is shared among P, Q, and R such that 3P, for every 3P gets Q, okay, such that for every 3P gets Q gets 2, and for every 1Q, gets R gets 4. Okay, so we should find the ratio of P is to Q is to R. Now, our P is to Q is giving us 3 is to 2, and our Q is to R is giving us 1 is to 4. Now, in both of these, we are having our P, our Q, but now we have to equate our Q to be equal. In order to do this, we'll find the LCM of 2 and 1, which is 2. All right, so multiply it. This will be constant. So we are going to multiply the ratio of Q and R by 2. So our P is to Q will still remain constant. 3 is to 2. Now our Q is to R. We multiply it by 2. All right, times 2. Now this will now become, our new ratio will become 2 is to 8. Now our Q's are equal. We can now equate. So the ratio of P is to Q is to R will become P will be 3 is to Q is now equal in both aspects is 2, and R will be 8. So our new ratio for P, Q, and R will be 3 is to 2 is to 8, which is option E. With this, we've come to the end of today's tutorials. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification buttons for more updates. If there will be any questions or comments, put them down in the comment sections. Thank you.